In this video, we'll be looking at the types of trusts that are available. So there's many types of trusts in the sense that the way they are advertised, the way they are marketed. So all sorts of different terminologies, but we'll be going through discretionary trusts, which are the most popular, interest in possession trusts, bare trusts, and I'll also make comment on a settlor-interested trust. Now, a discretionary trust, as mentioned, is the most common type of trust. Before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to our channel. This video is brought to you by Aswat Tax, Chartered Tax Advisors. My name is Omar Aswat. Now, as I say, discretionary trust, most popular. And it's called a discretionary trust because the trustees, who are the legal owners of the assets within the trust, have the discretion about how to use the income and capital within the trust. So effectively, they are deciding how much they can pay, if they should pay, and how often they should pay amounts out to each beneficiary. The other benefit of a discretionary trust is that it allows the trustees to make changes. So if the settlor could not have reasonably foreseen certain circumstances, the trustees of a discretionary trust can make changes. And if the settlor is still around, then he or she can also advise on changes by way of a letter of wishes. The trustees are not legally binded to sort of listen to the letter of wishes, but of course the trustees would have been trusted by the settlor in the first place. And also, just a final comment on a discretionary trust, one of the key components is that income can be accumulated. It doesn't have to be passed out straight away. So income can be accumulated within the trust. There are tax rules relating to that, whereby if income is accumulated for 5 years or more, then it becomes capital, but that's a separate story. So that's a discretionary trust. The second type of trust is known as an interest in possession trust, quite common as well, IIP. And the key aspect there would be that the beneficiary has a legal right to any income as and when it arises. So it's not the trustee's discretion, it's the legal right of the beneficiary. And IIPs are usually set up in a will for the benefit of a surviving spouse, let's say. So let's just say, for example, husband passes away, own a property, the income, the wife would be the beneficiary, the income would go straight to the wife. So the wife would have a legal right on that income. What happens with the capital then usually is that it is usually assigned for a different beneficiary. And again, that's in practice is usually for the children. So for example, where couples are concerned about protecting assets for the children because the husband or the wife may remarry, but then the children will miss out. So that's why the IIP is good, whereby the beneficiary of the income, the surviving spouse, can continue to live their life as they were living, but the capital rights can be protected for the residual beneficiaries, who are usually the children. Now, the settlement of these assets on the first death into the IIP does not create an inheritance tax charge, and therefore the nil rate band can be transferred to the surviving spouse. So there is that tax advantage there. A bare trust gives a beneficiary an immediate and absolute right to both the capital and the income. So it's a bare trust, it's just bare, it is what it is, there's nothing there. And although the assets are held in the name of a trustee, that trustee has no discretion over what income to pay to the beneficiary. So it's a look through. You look straight through the bare trust, and the income or capital would go directly to the beneficiary and will be reported on their self-assessment tax return. We'll go through that in the separate video in terms of income tax and capital gains tax implications on trusts, but that is what a bare trust is. It's bare. There's nothing there, nothing to look at. I'll just mention again, the bare trust gives the beneficiary an immediate and absolute right to all the capital and income of the trust. Now, as for settlor-interested trusts, as it says in the name, the settlor, which is the individual that introduced the assets into the trust, will also be a beneficiary. So effectively, if you think of it from an IHT planning perspective, it's not effective at all, because the whole value of the trust, the assets that were introduced in the trust, will still remain in the settlor's estate on death. So for IHT planning, it's a complete no-no. Broadly speaking, if a trust is settlor interested, then any income arising within the trust is taxed on the settlor, regardless of whether it has actually been paid out. So if it's not been paid out, then it's still taxed on the settlor. And the trustees will provide the details of the income received and any tax paid, and then the settlor will declare this on their self-assessment tax return. If the settlor pays tax at the higher rate, then additional tax will need to be paid. That again will be looked at separately. So four aspects we looked at. We looked at the discretionary trust, interest in possession trust, bare trust, and a settlor interested trust. I hope that made sense. I hope that was beneficial. I hope that was useful. If you have any queries or would like some bespoke IHT advice, inheritance tax planning, estate planning, then feel free to contact me on the email address above. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.